Welcome back to another episode of Cape Ann. Today, we have some interesting news from our Gloucester Times reporters today. Ethan, we'll start with the budget, the mayor's budget, but then you have two stories you're working on that are pretty important.
Yeah, the Mayor Verga outlined his budget proposal to City Council, $133.9 million in spending plan, and roughly about a 5% increase over last year. So nothing staggering. And the mayor, basically what's happening now is the mayor rolls out his budget to the City Council. The City Council actually had hearings on a Tuesday for the sort of minor departments. I don't want to say minor, but smaller
Mhm.
budget line items. And then they'll be having a bunch of budget hearings coming up. And the mayor talked about some of the things that he's done, which we've written about before, about the sustainability coordinator position. I think he's very proud of that. They had some grant funding, which more than paid for the position. And using money from the opioid settlement, the national opioid settlement, to continue to fund the community health navigator Tito Rodriguez and his position. There's a lot of good in the city. So it doesn't nothing really stood out to me. Just looking at the eyeballing the increases in the various departments. And I do want to give readers is so if they're interested in the budget, and you can really follow the process now on Zoom. You don't have to go to these meetings at the harbor master office. But on Wednesday, May 10th, you're going to go and find out more about the police and fire department budgets, animal control, and emergency management. And some of those bigger budgets will be discussed at that time. And yeah. Oh, and then of course the school budget. That's the I don't want to. What do I call that, Heather? What do I call the school department budget? It's always interesting to talk about.
Well, yeah, and according to your article today, so much of that is dependent upon the state, the chapter 70 or chapter 90. What
Chapter 70.
chapter
Chapter 90 is the roads.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah. So chapter 90 is the roads, chapter 70 is the schools, and how much the state is able to distribute it out of that out of their funds.
Yeah, Gloucester got a big increase in their local aid formula, about $1.6 million. They usually don't get that much. It's usually about a $90,000 increase. So it's very good. But also the state is saying, hey, Gloucester, you gotta increase your local contribution to education by $1.7 million. Gloucester always increases its budget by a lot of money. Last year was a 3% increase. This year, the schools are asking for 7.25%. The mayor seems to be willing to support 5%. Mayor, it's interesting. Mayor's a member of the school committee. He actually voted for the public hearing budget to go to public hearing. So, they're not that far off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's less than $1 million. I mean, relatively speaking, in budgets, he's basically saying sharpen your pencils, because the council only approves a single line item.
Mm-hmm.
So the schools are looking for over 50 million. The mayor's budget just under 50 million, $650,000. We'll see. I'm sure they'll get creative.
Mm-hmm.
But the schools are saying they need the money for things like improving the other O'Malley Innovation Middle School and strengthening that, moving some of their positions that are grant funded into the operating budget. They want to move the high school's career vocational technical education director's salary into the operating budget, strengthen the program, add medical assisting. We also wrote about that as well.
Yeah, so should we just talk real quickly about that, the medical assisting program that is being proposed for Gloucester High School? Real quickly, let's jump into that one.
Oh yeah, sure. No, they had last week they had a rollout or a presentation. I say rollout presentation about their programs, and one of the things they want to do is add a fifth shop. So they have like mechanical engineering, they have carpentry. I'm gonna forget them now. Auto shop and electricity, and they want to add medical assisting. It's also a gender balancing equation, because a lot of these shops attract guys.
Right.
And it's a non-traditional female vocation. So adding medical assisting will help them with the gender balance. And also it kind of makes sense. They're in demand,
Yeah, it's definitely a career that is has lots of opportunity right now.
and high paying too.
Yeah, right. Well, can we move on to your breaking news because it's kind of interesting? Or
Yeah, if you go to our website last night, they had a small fire in the basement of Gloucester City Hall, in the archives office. So I was told that if you face the building and you go all the way back, the last window there has been boarded up. Crews arrived, they saw smoke showing, fire alarm tipped them off. They knocked the fire down very quickly. The fire was confined to one room, and as of Thursday, City Hall is closed. Departments located in City Hall, the archives, city assessor, city auditor, city clerk, legal department, payroll personnel, purchasing, treasurer collector, and the mayor's office are all in City Hall. Those are closed today. There's an annex where other offices are located on Pond Road. They're not affected. This is only Dale Avenue. So
yeah.
what
kind of damage, Ethan?
You know what? I'm not sure. If, yeah, I don't know. It's just seeing it was a small fire.
Yeah.
And
and
so I did talk to the fire chief this morning, but I didn't really get it was confined to one room.
Yeah. And any sort of explanation for the source of the fire?
No, I mean they are looking at it, whether they are able to determine a cause or not. They found where the fire started, but he said who knows, they might be undetermined. But City Hall is older, and I think they are looking to upgrade the systems in the City Hall with, I think, fire suppression system, if I'm not mistaken, and also other wiring and electrical upgrades. This might be a good impetus for that project to move ahead sooner rather than later. That's something I'm trying to ask the mayor about.
Right. And you said this happened in the middle of the night?
Yeah, 11:30.
Yeah.
While I was sleeping. I was off Facebook.
You have another sad story for today.
Yeah, there was a drowning two fishermen were swept into the rocks off Rapes Chasm, and one of them drowned. Medford gentleman. And yeah, it's a sad story. Crews responded about 10:40 in the morning. One of them was able to get back on shore, and another one they had to locate with the Coast Guard boat and harbor master, and brought him to the Coast Guard station, brought him to Harbor Loop, brought him to the harbor master station, and yeah, he was pronounced dead. They tried to save his life, but they couldn't. So it's a warning. I stay off those rocks. It was rough seas on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is the first time this has happened, and it's a shame.
Well, thank you so much, Ethan, for all that. And again, it's a sad ending, but thanks for covering these. So, Stephen, let's move on to you.
Yes, hi, Heather.
Hi. So Essex had not one, but a two-part town meeting.
Right. They had a pretty ambitious warrant, 42 individual articles, part of the warrant. On Monday, they got through 9 of them. And then I thought there was consideration that this may go not 2 nights, but possibly 3 or whatever. But they got it all in 2 nights, which is pretty admirable. Anyway, the bottom line is the main articles of the warrant that did pass. There were 2 Proposition 2.5 overrides for the schools for Manchester Essex Regional School District. They amounted to the override for MERSD was 289,165. There's also another override request for the Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School, say that 3 times, for $56,000, $186. They both were approved. What was not approved was the ones that went down. The first one that comes to mind, there was a survey that the Historical Commission in Essex wanted to conduct of historic homes and properties in Essex. that received a lot of discussion, surprisingly, and but a lot of people are very adamant that they did not want their property as part of that survey, so that went down to defeat. What else?
Apple Street, eminent
Oh,
domain.
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that. Apple Street, the Apple Street construction project. That's a question now about what's going to go ahead. I can't tell you exactly what this means, but what I can tell you is that there was an article which would have authorized selectmen to acquire by gift, purchase, or eminent domain some properties on Apple Street to proceed with the Apple Street roadbed elevation and culvert replacement project. Again, say that 3 times. I dare you. It's tough. That received considerable discussion. It was defeated. I gather, and I hedge on saying this, I gather that doesn't necessarily mean the formal end of the project, but I know it means I believe they can't apply for particular grants to do that. So which may scuttle the project in total.
So
That'll be a good follow story for me.
Yeah, that would be great if you could follow up on that. But can we just be clear with that decision? So they voted against the town taking land that they would need for this work by eminent domain.
Correct.
And that
The plan was formally to take about a foot of property on either side of the road for a few hundred feet. I don't know exactly how long, but it's the southern end of Apple Street where the reason they want to do the project is because it's the only alternate way through town when the causeway floods. So in particular, it's very important for it's not like an advocate, but the argument is that it was necessary for public safety vehicles, fire, police to get around town, because otherwise the town, with the causeway flooding and that portion of Apple Street flooding, then you have the town cut off. So it creates some challenges.
But I think the contrary argument was that has only flooded once in the past.
That's
So-
true. That's true. There was I don't remember the exact year it did, but there were arguments made for the potential flooding, but then there was only 1 or 2 occasions that they pointed to. There was evidence of the actual flooding. So the road itself is deemed a historic road, so it's beautiful. And for those that have been by there, I've been by there quite a few times. It's really something to crow about. Part of Essex's natural beauty, but the land taking, it would have taken down dozens and dozens of trees, knocked down some historic walls. The walls were, and according to the plan, were to be reconstructed after the road was widened. But in terms of what it all means now, I can't really tell you. I need to do a follow story on that, and I will. So that's that. A couple of other small, not small things, actually. One for Rockport I'm working on. There's a grant, a FEMA grant amounting to $2.8 million that's been awarded to Rockport for Long Beach seawall construction. That's one follow. And another smaller thing over in Manchester, there's a road project over by the Manchester Essex Regional District High School project. They're having a lot of paving starting, I think, today. And this will go on for several weeks. So the DPW, town officials, and school officials are recommending you try the Pleasant Street access into the school property. There will be delays.
Well, so Ethan, do you have anything you're working on for next week you want to mention?
Well, we'll see how the weather holds, but I think they're gonna have a meatball-a-thon. Good Morning Gloucester and St. Peter's Club are gonna have a who's got the best meatball in the town.
No, there's
So I talked to Joey Shimitar, so I gotta see how hopefully the weather holds. There's gonna be like 100 people eating meatballs at the club. It's a fundraiser to help the club out for
Yeah.
their scholarships and to keep them going. So it's great. So it's good cause.
That
come
sounds
on down, I guess. Well, it happened on Thursday, so, but if you sign up, so you pay $10 and, you get to be a judge, I guess.
So we're doing this on the interview on Thursday.
Yeah,
So,
so we'll see how it shakes out.
okay.
But that's what I'm working on. The meatball, a spicy meatball. That's what I want. Who's got the spicy meatball in glass?
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week. And thanks for everything.
Thanks, Heather.
Goodbye, Heather. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too. Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.